You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. My name's Megan.
And I'm Jen, and we are two boss babes sharing our journey and inspiring you along the way.
We are both in the wedding industry. I'm a photographer and videographer, and Jen is a mobile bartender. And today we are talking all about making your business legal, forming an LLC, getting official, all the way from starting until making money and giving yourself a paycheck.
I'm so excited to talk about today's topic, but can we also talk about the weather outside today?
Yes!
We are in Connecticut, as most of you know, and it's officially spring. It's officially warm weather. The grass is finally blooming. Is that the word I look for growing?
Green.
It's green.
It's green.
Just driving around town has been so amazing. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Our daffodils are popping.
I have them all over
That's
my
nice.
yard and I love it. And we're doing an event together on Thursday, this
Yeah.
coming Thursday. If you're listening to this, it had already passed, but I'm so pumped that we're doing it together too.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun.
I can't wait.
So
I'm
fun.
photographing it and Jen is organizing it. But you
Yes.
have two or three,
Yep, two of my
four
girls.
on the team?
Yeah, two of my girls will be bartending. So this is actually my first event that I will be at that I'm not bartending, but I'm still there.
You get to see it
So.
from the guest perspective.
Yes.
Kind of fun.
Yes, no pressure to my girls. You're going to do amazing. I'm excited. But I'm really excited to see my business unfold with me not being behind the bar.
Yeah. And it's cool because it's a networking event too. It's
Yep.
not for strangers or for potential clients. It's other vendors. And I mean guest tickets, of course. My mom will be there. But
Shout out my mom too and my grandma. Shout out. But yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be so fun.
yeah, me too. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's dive into forming an LLC. This is something that we had no experience on. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when you first start your business, you have no clue what you're doing, and that's okay. And we had no clue what we were doing. We still have no clue sometimes. But forming an LLC is very important for your business. And I feel like you have to figure out what route you want to go on for your business. And not saying you have to do this in your first year of business. I did. Did you start your first year as an LLC?
No. So
Okay.
I started accepting clients and accepting money in 2021 and registered in 2022 at the start of the new year. And now we're into 2023. So
I think that's probably where our businesses differ a little bit. I'm serving alcohol. So
Yeah,
for
totally
mine,
different.
I have much more liability than I think a lot of businesses in general. So I definitely had to do things the right way from the get-go because alcohol is just such a touchy subject. So for me, I did start my LLC right away. We'll dive into steps and how to do that. But I think the first process is really creating a business plan. And this is very interesting, but Megan and I totally differ in this. So I did not have a written business plan. I had a bunch of ideas in my head. I had a Pinterest board. I had lots of things I wanted to do, but I never actually wrote it down, which clearly is my life because I just have everything in my brain and don't do a good job in putting it down on paper and really having it black and white. It's I think that's my creative side that I need to do better on, which is fine. Whatever works for everyone, this is what works for me. And I had all these ideas, but I kind of wrote them down. Let me also preference. But I didn't have a full business plan. I had goals, I had ideas, and I had a long-term vision that I wanted for this business. And that totally changed, which is okay. But I did not write it down black and white. So I don't recommend that. Do you want to talk about yours? Because I know yours is different.
I wrote it down black and white, every tiny little detail from what cameras I had and what I wanted to get, what my goals were, all the way down to what client management system I wanted, how I wanted to deliver my pictures, how many pictures I wanted to include in each package, my pricing. I had everything figured out and written down, every single point. So if somebody read it, they would be able to understand it perfectly. Kind of like when you were in science class and you had to write a lab report. When you were say you were making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and you write down every single detail. I got the bag from the pantry. I opened up the bag of bread, took the bread out of the bag of bread. Then I got a knife, and then I put the knife in the peanut butter jar. But where did the peanut butter jar come from? You got it from the pantry. So
I just
all
thought
of those little steps.
Did the chicken come before the egg? I'm dying right now. I love that. But I love that.
What do you think?
Oh, God, I don't know.
I think the chicken probably came first. Kind of like a mule. You know how a mule is between a donkey and a horse?
But how did the chicken come?
Probably like that. Maybe two different
Oh man, I
birds
love
got
that we're
together.
going in
A turkey and a maybe quail.
I'm dying right now. But I love that. I love that you put everything down, because
Yeah.
eventually I did that. And I look back and I wish I kind of, but also this is also where our businesses differ. Mobile bars really weren't a thing. I had nothing to really go off of, versus, you know, there were mobile bars in other areas, but I had really no like tools at my fingertips to say, this is how a mobile bar business should be run.
Right. There wasn't really a role model for you to look up to.
Yeah, definitely.
But versus like me, everybody and their mom and grandma is a photographer. Or, you know, it's a very saturated industry. So
do you feel that you needed to be black and white, and I wouldn't say perfectionist, but do you feel that you needed to be a little more precise because you had such a saturated market and you wanted to really stand out in it?
Maybe that was part of it. Honestly, I'm not quite sure. I think that's just my personality. I think that's just who I am. I like to have everything written down, and like if I were to give the piece of paper to somebody and they read it all, they would know exactly what was in my head, each and every bullet point to a T.
I love that, because if you knew what was in my head, oh my God, you'd probably run.
Stop.
But I think that that's okay. I think it's okay to run your business in different ways.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to figure out what your business plan is. You have to have some type of plan, whether it's in your head, on paper, whatever it may be. Which I did. I think I'm portraying myself as this like scatterbrain, which that's not what it is at all. I think I had everything in my head. I just didn't write it on paper.
Yeah.
So
the reason why I wrote it all on paper was because I wanted to know what my life could look like. And I wrote down what my dream was, to be a full-time photographer. I didn't know it was weddings at the time, but I knew that I wanted to be a full-time photographer. And I was like, okay, if I can make that happen, this is how much money I need to make. And if I'm making that much money, this is how much I can charge per event. And if that's the case, how many events do I need to do? And then I kind of backtracked from that, and I was like, so if I want to go part-time at my job and part-time in photography, then what's this cut in half? And then I did it that way, and then kind of worked things backwards. So I was like, I'll start now as a side hustle, and I can charge $50 per session, and I can do one session a month. And then next year I'll go part-time and charge this much, and then the year after that I'll go full-time, and I can be able to charge this much and do however many events. And I just totally blew past that and quit my job and went full-time. So take it all with a grain of salt. But that kind of helped me plan things out in my head, because it made me feel more prepared and more able to actually quit my job, because I had written down every subscription I would need, what each subscription would cost, what my cost of doing business would be, and the gear that I was trying to get. And I had everything like budgeted and accounted for.
I think that's also where we differ a little, because I kind of had my back against the wall when I started my business, because I was in the pandemic. I was furloughed from my job, so I didn't have an income, which is why I started this business. And I probably may have done things differently, but the outcome might not have been the same. I feel like because I was pushed up against a wall and had to figure it out, it really pushed me to figure things out. And I love something that you said, like you just said, you know, your long-term goal was to be a full-time photographer. And I didn't really have a long-term goal for this business, because again, I was kind of just figuring it all out along the way. But now my long-term goal is to be able to enjoy my family, and I'm doing that already, and I'm spending so much more time. So I feel like a business plan, yes, can be black and white, but it can also be your personal plans. Like your business is your personal life. So I feel like you have to relate the two together. Do you agree?
I do. Well, because as a business owner, you're kind of a one-man band. And so your business is your entire life. I mean, you need to not let it be your entire life and enjoy your family, like you said. But at the end of the day, like, you're the one running your business. And so it is your life. And I think the two just go so hand in hand. So either way, if you write it down on paper or you don't, figure it out, do your research, look at other people in your industry, unless you're starting something totally new, and see what they do, what client management system they use, how much they charge for their services, and see how you can compare and how you want to do things differently. So do your research on all of those kinds of things. You can figure out what your cost of doing business is. And then once you get to that point, you can start to do model calls or give away some of your products, kind of narrow down your services so that you can better prepare yourself for when you have a paying client or customer. Did you do that? Did you do any free events or
absolutely.
parties for family?
Absolutely. Yep. So my first event, I think I charged her $350. And I very quickly learned how much work goes into running a mobile bar business, let alone the stress and the headache of making sure you have to have everything, but just logistically, financially, all the things that you have to do, like setting up an LLC or the website and all the fees that come in. So obviously I cannot charge that for each event.
Your grocery bill per event.
Yes, exactly. Ice.
Yeah.
So funny. We joke mobile bars at the end of the season, all of our receipts are ice. It's hilarious. There should be a whole tax category just for ice. But absolutely, I think that is so important to your business is to do, that's how you're marketing yourself. Word of mouth is by far one of the number one benefits to your business because people are experiencing you firsthand and they get to really give someone else the experience that they got. And yes, we did a whole episode on social media, and as good as social media is, having that someone be like, I saw this mobile bar or I saw this photographer and I love her, you have to work with her.
Yep. Because if you're getting a referral from a friend, they're 10 times more likely to actually book with you than a stranger found you on Instagram. They might ghost you. They might end up going with somebody else just because all of their options are wide open. But if you're getting a referral from a friend that you trust and they're like, I trust Jen, the vintage horse, you need to have her, they're 10 times more likely to book than stranger on the internet. So.
100%. And then to get into kind of starting your actual name and business. So I am so excited to talk about this because I am living proof of an error. So when I first started my business, I don't know if you know this.
No.
I think you might know this, but you'll hear in a second.
Okay.
So when I first started my business, people joke, how did you come up with the name The Vintage Horse? And I literally tell them it was available on Instagram. And I'm not kidding. That's literally one reason why. Because I also I knew I had a horse trailer. I love everything vintage. It kind of just flowed very nicely. But I posted the vintage horse. I started my Instagram. There was nobody else on Facebook with it. And I think those were the two things that I started focusing on. Again, I thought this was going to be a hobby. I did not think this was going to be what it was today. And I posted it on Facebook, and my husband's aunt messaged me, and she's been an entrepreneur her whole life. She messaged me. She goes, you need to buy your GoDaddy domain right now. We'll talk about that. And I was like, no, I don't. She's like, it's $11. You need to get it because if you don't get it, somebody else will. And I was like, no, I don't even know what this is going to be. I literally thought I was just going to make some money until I got my job back and we would go from there. Well, I put the vintage horse out there, and again, it was available for $11. I think it was $10.99, and to get the vintagehorse.com domain, and somebody bought it before I could. So I went back in to go buy it weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later, not even that long. And it says it was $2,500 just to reach out to someone potentially get it. And I might not have even gotten it. So I don't know if anyone knows, but my website is thevintagehorses with an S.com. So I do not have the vintage horse, which I'm very sad about, but it is what it is. I joke that this was before I had a second trailer, but I'm like, I'm going to have multiple trailers and I'll be the vintage horses. So that's where that came in.
Oh,
but
are you thinking about changing your name then to be with the S?
No, it'll always be the vintage horse because I just feel like that flows better. But I am a little bummed at, when people search. So anyway, going back to find your name, but also find your domain, because your domain is going to be the backbone of your business. It's going to be your website. It's going to be anywhere where people can find you is going to be basically on your search engine.
Yeah. This is actually why I waited to register my business, actually. Wasn't so much because of anything financial or I just was lazy or anything. It was because I knew that I wanted to change my name. And I figured, I might as well change my name at the start of the new year and register my business then. So that was my push for that and why I didn't do it right away.
Yep.
But I think there's, and don't quote me on this, but I think there's like a $12,000 limit or something. Like you can, before you have to register your business. Like legally you have to.
Got it.
Yeah, but I think your fine, and it can be considered a hobby or something if it's like $12,000 or less of your income for the year or something like that. And I had exceeded that, and I was like, ee! And I told I probably should not be saying this on the internet. But my tax accountant was like, you shouldn't have told me that. And I was like, okay.
Well, then you did the right thing. So
but I registered my business and I reported all of it. So, but anyway,
we're good now. We're good now.
But
no, I think I definitely think it's very important to get your ducks in a row because, but also, again, you never know and things happen and you can figure out a way to move forward from there. I think that's what this is also all about. But definitely, with social media the way it is today, make sure that you get your social media domain, your website domain, and you know, and have that be your brand, the start of your brand. Like have back to a business plan. Like maybe you don't have a black and white business plan, but you have a business name. And again, that can change down the road if you
and you can do doing business ads. You could do a DBA, even if you've registered your business already and you're watching this video and you're like, yeah, I should rebrand. You can change your name and still file under your old business name and just have a DBA. Yep. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, that's good.
Want to interject.
No, I love that. I think that's, it's important to know that it's okay to change too. I think rebranding is a big thing. Megan and I were just talking about this. Like, it's okay to rebrand your business if you need to. If you feel like that's what's going to help you grow because you're growing as a person. Yeah. So is your business. It's okay to rebrand yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I changed from photography to imagery because now I'm doing video too. So sometimes just a little thing like that can make a big difference in the whole like context of your.
And I feel like it makes you feel better too. You feel like you're growing and your business is growing and so all good things. Yeah. Do we want to go briefly into taxes? I know we're going to do like a full thing, but keep track of all of your expenses. We just, prior to this, Megan and I were chatting on what is considered a write-off, and we're not going to go into that today because we're going to have a whole episode. But if you're talking about your business in a social setting or if you're having dinner with a potential client or a local vendor that is also going to be helping your business grow, technically, and this is not legal because I am not a legal tax person, but that's considered working with your business and that is considered a write-off. So do your research and see what really is, but more things than you think are considered write-offs.
I just learned this about 10 minutes ago. So we're all learning new things, and I'm really excited. We're going to have a financial expert on pretty soon, and we have a lot of questions for her, and I'm going to ask her what is the definition of a tax write-off, and I'm very excited to hear her answer. So
me too. But keep track of everything. Whether you think it's an expense or not, you can talk to your accountant, to your tax person, and but just keep track of everything. I think that's something that I probably lacked, still do, in the early stages of my business, and I think I could have been much more organized with keeping track of my expenses a little bit better. We'll talk in a little bit about, setting up a bank account just for your business, but I did not. I guess we could dive into that.
Yeah, we could do that now.
Should we dive into that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So legally, once you start your LLC, I guess let's talk about LLC first.
Okay, we'll go in order that we had written down, I guess. But maybe shooting back a little bit to like keeping track of all of your expenses. I kept track of all of my expenses from day one, and my mileage, and it was very helpful. Even though I wasn't a registered business yet, I still, to this day, I know exactly how much money I have made minus cash, because I don't count my cash. But I know how much my business has made even before I was a registered business. So looking in my QuickBooks account and seeing the all-time trend, because you can look at it monthly, yearly, weekly, or all-time. I can see my accurate all-time how much money I've made. And so I think that's at least cool for you to see. And then if you hit that 12,000 mark also, because I knew that I hit that 12,000 mark because I was keeping track of everything. And if you don't keep track of it and maybe you get audited or something and you just weren't the wiser, you just didn't know, that's really scary. But all your mileage too, you can write off your mileage and some payments and stuff for your car, maybe even too, oil changes and stuff. So that's very valuable to do from the get-go, even if you're not registered. You don't have to be registered to keep track of your gas.
No, and truly figure out what you can and can't write off. And I really think that I didn't understand what I could write off in the beginning. And you also don't want to write off everything because you want your business to show that you're making revenue as well. But you do want to take advantage of the tax write-offs when tax season comes in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so figure out, there are different ways to run your business. One is an LLC, one is a sole proprietor, and one is a what's the last one? S corp.
S corp or a C corporation.
Yes.
And they all just file differently with your taxes, and they each like have their own benefit and downfall. They like mean different things, but we are both LLCs because it protects your personal versus your business assets. So if anybody were to sue Meghan and Imagery, if I like tipped over a wedding cake or something at somebody's wedding, God forbid, I'm clumsy, but if somebody sued me for that, they would not be able to take my car or anything that is a personal asset. They would only be able to go after me for like my gear.
And that was something that was very important to me, especially dealing with alcohol, and we'll get into insurance after, but that was important to me when I first started my business because I have a house, I have a mortgage, I have assets to my family in my name, and I wanted to make sure that at the end of the day, even if you have the best lawyer in the world, they could find everything. But it takes a lot more time to reach you if you have an LLC to touch any of your personal assets. So if someone, again, were to sue the vintage horse, they're suing the vintage horse. They're not suing Jen Milano. So that is very important to have that separation where if you weren't an LLC, potentially you could lose anything that is legal to you, your house, your car, your whatever it may be.
Yeah. I don't know a ton about sole proprietor and an S corporation or C corporation, so I don't really even know if like that is strictly only an LLC thing. One of those might also have that, but I'm just going off my dad's advice. He runs his own business, and he was like, "You should be an LLC because I am." So that's what I did. But do your research on that because one might have a better benefit than that to you than this, but.
And also, Megan and I did this in two different ways. So I actually hired someone to do my LLC. I think it was like $350. I found a local lawyer to Connecticut, and he really did the paperwork for me because I was dealing with alcohol and because I was dealing with, more liability than most companies. I wanted to make sure that it was done the right way. And again, if you know me, I don't read directions. I don't read things. My husband jokes all the time. He literally is like, "How did you put this together?" I was like, "I looked at the pictures. Like, I don't read step by step." So I needed someone to do that for me. But you can, as Megan can kind of talk about, you can do your LLC on your own right online.
Yep. So we'll go through all the steps now. I wrote it down. It's on the wall, so I'm squinting. But it's like 5 or 6 steps. So it's not very complicated, but it is overwhelming. It's a lot to think about, and it stressed me out a lot. I wanted to reach out to somebody and pay somebody to do it, but I was 19 barely, and I think I had just had my birthday, so I was like basically 18 and just didn't really know what was going on. So new to this world, like the business world, and I just didn't even really know who to reach out to. Like I didn't even know how to find somebody like that, how to Google it.
Shout out to my mom. She helped me. Not gonna lie.
My goodness. Like my dad, when he formed his LLC, it was, I think, before I was born, or I'm maybe have been like a toddler or something. So like he didn't really remember either. And like my grandfather had helped him, and I can't ask him. He's not around anymore. So it was just kind of like I didn't know what else to do besides do it by myself. So I just did it by myself, and I just did the research. I just kept Googling how to form an LLC, watched a bunch of YouTube videos, talked to my tax accountant, got his advice on things, and this is how I did it. So step 1, file to become an LLC. So this is your certificate of organization. So we both live in Connecticut, so if you go to just ct.gov, you should be able to find it. You can file almost everything on your state's government website. So all of my sales taxes, quarterly sales taxes, and all of these payments and things you can probably do on your state's government website. So that's where I filed it there. I think I had to pay something for it, but I don't remember how much it was. I don't think it was expensive. I want to say it was like $100 or less.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it would be. But
yeah, I should have looked into that a little bit more before we did this. But
every state might be different too. So
every state is different, and also being an LLC versus a sole proprietor or whatever you're going to go with, they are all different. So just in the state of Connecticut, I think it was about $100 or less. And I just filled out a form online, gave my address, my name, my business name. I think that was pretty much it. I don't think I needed anything else more than that and a check. So did that. And then the next step is to get your employer identification number, so your EIN number. And the reason why you need this is because you have to file your taxes with this number, because technically now you are your own employer. Mm-hmm. And so you need to have a number to file your taxes and to also open up a bank account, because it's not going to be a personal account. It's going to be set up totally differently, and you need to be able to be considered as a business to your bank. So you need your EIN number. So that's a whole other form that you have to fill out. And in Connecticut, it's called a Reg 1, REG1. I don't know. This is just what I Googled and what I did, and I'm pretty sure I did everything correctly.
Knowing you did everything correctly.
Okay, thanks.
Also, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second, but this is another important thing, is to have your own bank account for your business. This was something I did not do my first year in business, and I do wish I did it, because I think it would have just set myself up much easier. I did not have a bank. Well, I guess I did. I didn't have a debit card, so I was using my personal card for business supplies. I was going back and forth. It was a hot mess. So definitely don't recommend doing that. I recommend everything that you have to do with your business is on one card. It could be a debit card. It could be, your checking card, whatever it may be. But only use that card for things for your business, because the end of the year, tax season, it's just going to make your life so much easier. Plus, you'll know all of your expenses for the year. I'm sure there's going to be emergencies where you have to use something, so just keep the receipt for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important just to have one account that has all your funds in and out, and it makes your life much easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then your personal life doesn't encroach in your, is that the right way to say that? It doesn't encroach in your business life. It separates everything. So like I can go out to coffee with another photographer and write it off as a tax
Megan didn't know this. I'm yelling at her.
With my business bank account instead of my personal account, and just totally separate your life. So like when you're on the clock, you're spending with your business and not with your personal account, and it just totally separates your life, sets a boundary for you in your business to be like, I have my boss hat on, versus at the end of the night and you're going grocery shopping, you have your I totally agree. Your personal life.
And I feel like it's very like motivational for yourself. You have a business card.
I was so excited when I got it in the mail.
Me too. That was like the best thing. It said the Vintage Tourist on my card. I was like, I'm official.
Yeah.
I am official.
Yeah, because your certificate of organization, they send you a nice piece of paper, I guess. You could print it out and put it on the wall, but what are you going to do?
When you tie money to something like a debit card that you can swipe, I just feel like that it motivates me.
Yeah.
Knowing that I can use that card and there's money on it that I got myself, it's just so rewarding.
Yep.
So, all right, tangent that I go and
I recommend having a business savings too. Do you have a savings account for your business?
I don't.
Mine doesn't really have a lot in it, but
So we had talked about this earlier, and one of my things this year, and I know we're going to talk about paying yourself, but I did a few trainings this year, and one of them was 10% of your business should go towards, I don't know if it was 10% towards savings, but 10% should go towards marketing, save, whatever it may be. So my goal, every event that comes in, I'm trying, and again, my official business season hasn't, but I've been booking for the year since January, even last year. But my goal is to put 10% of each booking away. I'm going to try. We're going to see. But now, having a second trailer, having another stream of income, and having to pay more people and things like that. And I never know when the trailer is going to break down, or when I'm going to need to renovate it, or when, I don't even want to say bad things, but something could happen.
Yep.
And if I don't have a savings account to fall back on, that's the downfall.
Yeah, an emergency fund for your business. You have one for your personal life. You need to have one for your business too.
Exactly.
So I have a savings account for my business and a checking account, but there was just the money in it that I put in when I set up the account. So I put a little bit of money in my checking account and my savings account when I opened them both, and then I just let my savings account sit there. So it is collecting interest, but not even on that much money. So it's just kind of there.
With that, because I used to love when I was in corporate, I would have direct deposit to my checking account.
Yeah.
And I would have direct deposit to different savings account in my personal life. And I feel like that's something I'm struggling with, and I would love to hear how you do this. So if you are going to enhance your savings account, are you personally transferring yourself? Do you have like a scheduled date where you transfer X amount of money to that account?
Yes. So within my bank app, because the app that the bank that I have has an app, and I use.
Who do you use?
I use Wells Fargo.
Okay, I use Bank of America.
Okay.
I'm sure
I don't know anything.
Too.
I don't. I don't know really a lot about stocks, money, banks. I really don't know anything. But I already had Wells Fargo and had a fine experience with them personally. And I was like, I guess I'll just open my bank account here. So, but it's nice that way, because having my business banking account and my personal banking account, I can see all of it in just the one app. I don't have to sign in or sign out or switch my accounts or different bank apps or anything like that. So I have started giving myself a paycheck, but it's just a scheduled transfer. So yes,
so you can schedule them.
Yeah. So I have it scheduled in the Wells Fargo app. I have a monthly paycheck the first of every month, and it will just the first of every month. That's just the date that I set, and it will repeat on the first of every month, the same amount of money. And it's very easy to go in and change the amount too. So as busy season kicks off and I spend more on gas and all these things, I'll probably increase my pay because I'm going to be doing more work and doing more stuff and going out more. But I do the same with my savings account. So when I was working at the retirement home, I had the same thing. I had a direct deposit come through to my personal accounts, and I had like 5% of my paycheck go to my savings, and then like 95 go to my regular, and just so that it would just like go over my head. Like you wouldn't know from the start. Yeah, I wouldn't have known that it was there because I hadn't had a paycheck from them before. So I was just like, I'll do that. And I wish that I had done this at the start, because then I would have had the same experience with my business, like having 5% or like $50 a month or something like that. Like I wouldn't have even known. But now that I'm doing that, it kind of like in my mind, I'm like, I feel like I'm making less, but like I'm saving more. Yep. So it's worth it. But yeah, I just have a scheduled transfer to answer your question.
Love that. Okay. So do you want to finish the last steps of?
Sure. So the first step was your certificate of organization.
I was going to say, start from the beginning. Okay.
Next one is to get your EIN number. The next step, sorry, I'm trying to read it. My eyes are not very good, though I am wearing my glasses. You need to open up your business bank account. So figure out what bank you want to use. If you want to use the same bank as your personal account, go for it. I highly recommend that. The next step is checking in with your town. So this might differ for different small businesses. If you're opening up a bakery, or if you're doing just online, like a candle shop or something like that, versus us, like we don't have a home office at all. And our work is on the road, sort of. So it's a different ball game in terms of like zoning, but I still have to pay like personal property taxes to my town and business property taxes to my town. So,
and since I have a trailer, like I have to pay taxes on my trailer too. So you just have to find out like what, tax brackets that you need to also pay yearly, and just make sure that you keep up to date on that as well.
Yeah. And each town is going to go by totally differently. Like I had no idea that I had to pay taxes on my business assets that I've already bought to my town every year. Like my cameras and my laptops and everything, like I have to pay to my town every year taxes just because I own them and I live in town. I was so upset when I found that out. I got a letter in the mail and they were like asking me to send the money, and I showed it to my dad. I was like, is this a scam? Is this real?
That's another thing too.
Oh my God. Yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah, really quickly. There's a lot of scams that you will get, and just make sure it's coming from a .gov, like no matter what it is. And they can hide things. It's like everything looks so legit, and then you turn it around, it's like this is not a government written letter.
Or you see that it was sent from like Florida or something.
Not your state. Yeah. Make sure, because I almost paid, I think it was like $250 because it looked like a tax. It looked so legit. And I brought it to my tax guy. I like sent him an email and I was like, what is this? Is this legit? He's like, no, that's a scam. And the back of it said, this is not a government letter or whatever it may be, but like there was a government seal on it. There was like everything else was government except for, and I probably didn't look at where it was coming from. It may have been from not Connecticut, which it probably was, but yeah, just
so
be careful of that
scary
stuff. Yeah.
So scary. I used to get them all the time, and now I just kind of get them to my email.
Yep. And if you get some in your email, unless, like, for example, I'm coming up on my yearly, I don't know, my yearly LLC renewal. That's what it is.
Yep.
And is that for everyone in Connecticut?
I think
March 31st was like the deadline.
I don't know what the deadline was.
Okay.
I don't remember that. But I got an email about it, and I didn't know about that either until my dad was like, "Did you pay this yet?" And I was like, "Ugh, another one?"
I literally had to text Megan, and I was like, "Is this real? Is this a scam? What is this?"
Yeah, my dad had just given me the bad news. So
it was $80, but it was literally, we had to pay $80. And again, I don't know if this is state by state, but we had to pay $80 just to confirm our business and our name and our email.
Mm-hmm.
Scam.
It's like
it wasn't a scam. It was real, but
yeah, it's like to re-up your LLC for the year or something. I don't know about the other kinds though. If like sole proprietor, I'm sure they do. It's probably just a different amount.
Yep. Yeah.
But
and then the next one that we want to talk about is insurance, and I'll start with that because my insurance is probably much greater.
Take it away.
Okay. So for insurance, when I first started, again, I keep preferencing that I did not know what this business was going to be. So I secretly and horribly, and I probably shouldn't put this on the internet, but I only had liability. General liability was all I had for my business. And I quickly realized that that was so bad, so poor for my business. So I have liquor and general liability. So for my first few events, I did not have it, but you live and you learn. I did not know that I needed it. I didn't know what I needed. So it is very important to make sure that you have the right insurance for your business. Also, if you are a vendor and you're going on site to different venues, you're going to need your certificate of insurance. So it's called your certificate of insurance. COI is the short name that most venues will use. Even at homes, different, even if it's a private home, they may ask you for your COI. Mm-hmm. So in order to have that, you have to have your general liability insurance, which I think is standard across the board. We're actually doing an event on Thursday, and we, as the venue, we required everyone to have their COI for the event. Basically, what that means is you're adding yourself and your business you're adding the venue as additionally insured to your business. So basically, if something were to happen, you're covered, they're covered. It's kind of like a partnership. Mm-hmm. But it's very important to have that because two reasons. One, you're covering yourself. You're covering yourself on your insurance. If someone were, I'm going to use my business as an example, if someone were to trip and fall over an extension cord that I had plugged into my trailer and they broke their leg, I can't afford their medical bills. So that's why I have insurance. I have a $2 million umbrella, which is what my policy is. I pay, I think, about almost $1,000 a year. So it is a significant income or a significant amount, but you have to do that. Mm-hmm. That is non-negotiable for your business. Whether you're just starting, you're there later, it's something that you need to have for your business.
And for somebody, I mean, your trailer, I'm sure, costs a lot more than all of my gear combined. Probably.
I mean, probably not. Because we're probably pretty similar.
Mine's also $1,000 a year. So when you said that, I was like,
But I mean, if you have more product, like I have my one trailer,
right?
But that's really all I have personally, like assets to my business.
Like across the board, it might be about the same because I have.
You have so
two computers, a bunch of hard drives, almost 3 camera bodies.
Yeah.
I have like every single thing insured, like my $200 backpack, these headphones, mic, like everything that I own. I wrote down in a list and called my dad's insurance company. Everything. I just did everything that my dad did. I just used the same people and I called them up on the phone because, again, I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know who to reach out to. I didn't know what I needed. I did a lot of my own research to find out like how to run my business, but all of this kind of stuff is like, it was harder for me to find online. So I called them up and I explained to them what my business was, and they just told me what they thought that I needed. Yep. So I didn't say, hey, I want general liability. I want this. All I said was, I'm starting a wedding photography business. This is how expensive all my gear is. And I gave them like an itemized list of what everything costs so that they'd be able to, I don't know, figure out what my insurance would need to be in case somebody stole my camera backpack at a wedding, what I would need to cover that.
And I think that that's so important to utilize the insurance company because they're the professionals. So ask them. Say, I have no clue what I'm doing.
That's what they're there for, yeah.
New entrepreneur, and ask them. That is literally what you are paying them for. You know, you're paying the $1,000 a year because you want to do the right thing, and they're going to help you do the right thing. So don't feel bad about asking, you know, and do your research too. For me, it was a little bit harder because I needed liquor liability. And not all insurance companies provide that. So I had to find one that not only provided it, but also provided it in the state of Connecticut. So for me, it's much different, but all across the board, every state is going to be different. So you just have to find what works for your business, what works in that specific state, and then ask the professional for their advice, because then you'll be doing things the right way.
Yep.
And then you want to talk about pay your taxes and sales tax? We kind of talked about this, but.
Yeah, that's the last step. So I mean, starting an LLC and getting more organized and official with your business, it's really only like 5 or 6 steps. So it sounds very complicated, but you file, you get your tax number, you open a bank account, you get your insurance, and you pay your taxes. That's it. And then every year, every quarter, you have to pay your sales tax. But, and again, that's just on the government website. I just pay my quarterly sales tax on ct.gov. They send me an email and they're like, your quarterly sales tax is due. And I just click the link. And I go into my QuickBooks, and I go from, you know, you can set dates in QuickBooks. So I go from the first of the month to the last of the month. And I say, okay, this is my income for the month. Put it in, and it tells me how much I owe in taxes, and that's about it.
Yep. And also don't let these 5 steps deter you from starting an LLC.
Yeah.
We struggled in the beginning, but now it's a walk in the park. We just know what we're doing and know what we have to pay. But don't let that stop you from starting an LLC. It sounds overwhelming. It sounds scary, but it's really not. It's just you're learning something that you've never had to do before, which is everything in this business and everything as being an entrepreneur. You have to teach yourself things. And when you don't know the answers, find an expert that does.
Yep.
You know, we talked about bookkeeping is not Jen's thing. So I have an expert to do that. I don't have one, but I'm going to have one. But I could never do my own taxes. I have a tax guy for that. So find the person to help you along the way.
Yep. And at each step, somebody will be there. I mean, somebody registered your business as an LLC.
Yep.
So get a lawyer to do that part. Get your tax accountant to help you with your EIN number. And then your insurance people, get them on the phone and they'll help you with that too. So you don't have to do everything by yourself. Somebody will be there at each step along the way for you to call and be like, I just need some help. Even people at your town, call your town clerk and they can help you with the zoning part too. So, yeah, people are there.
And
they want to help.
Yeah, I feel like when you hear LLC, it's very intimidating, but it's not something to be intimidated about. It's something to get the next steps of your business going, and you have to do it. So,
yeah. Another nice thing for having your business established, though this isn't necessary, is the Google Business Suite. So when somebody looks up, just Googles your business, it'll pop up, like if you look up Chipotle or something, and you know, it comes up with like the different addresses and like reviews and all of that kind of stuff. That is only $6 a month, I believe, for me. I pay monthly, but that's another thing that you can set up once your business is established, because it needs to be sent in the mail to you, some verification code for you to put online. So I don't think you need to be an LLC for that or have an EIN number. I think anybody can do that, but it is nice to have once you are an LLC, because then you can put that in your Google Business Suite title and be like Meghan and Imagery LLC, and it makes people feel a little bit more comfortable when they're Googling you to know that you are protected.
I think that's another thing too. I think, again, my business is a little different because I am more liable for a lot of things, but if I was not an LLC, I think in my competition I feel like somebody would hire them over me. So I feel like it's protecting yourself at the end of the day too.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this about Google Your Business. I know when I first started my business, like I'm on Google though, but I don't pay anything a month. Now I'm going to have to look into this.
Oh,
Megan's
really?
blowing my mind.
Maybe I'm paying something for nothing. Or maybe you have a free trial or something.
So I did do this in the beginning, and it's funny because someone was joking. They're like, ask Alexa. Now Alexa's going to turn off in everyone's thing if you're saying this out loud. But it was like, Google your business with Alexa. And it was like, you've established yourself and Alexa knows who you are. But I had to do something on Google My Business in order for Alexa to find me. So I did something. I don't know exactly what it was, but that's interesting that you pay something monthly. Now I want to look into that.
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. Do you want to keep going with marketing?
No, that was all I had to say about Google. I mean, just the Google My Business suite is just very easy. I mean, it's just a way for people to write reviews about you and a nice way for people to search your business name for it to like actually pop up at the top, because that will override, just your regular website. If somebody looks up Meghan and imagery, that will pop up before anybody else. So if somebody has like Meghan and photography or like Meghan imagery or something like that, something similar, if they type mine in correctly, like mine will come up before theirs. So that's one reason why I really like it. And then it also shows the location. So you can have it set to just your town. You can have your address visible. I do not. But I have like a nice grid of like New England for people to see that like, oh, she'll come to me. And I am nationwide, but like I do like to have just like New England centered there. But yeah, it's not a very big step, not a necessity, but I do really like it. That's all I have to say.
I think that's important too, because I have found a lot of my potential clients are finding me on Google. And I think that's the number one search engine. So you need to be present somehow on Google. And there's different ways that, once you do have, and again, I don't know if this is just towards LLC, but there are back end ways where you can Google My Business, and you have like, I do it through Gmail. And there's different ways through my Gmail in the settings where I can make sure that certain keywords, so if you're typing in Connecticut mobile bar, I come up. And there's different like mobile bar, bartending, mobile bartending. Like there's a bunch of different keywords that you can put into your Google account that helps Google find you when they're searching for you.
I did not know this.
Yes.
I did all of that SEO stuff with my website. So my website comes up if people are looking wedding photographer or Connecticut wedding photographer, but I did not do that with my Google suite.
Do it with Google today.
Oh, yes. Jen.
So yeah, you go into your settings on your personal business Google account and you can type, and you can add, do you know have you added pictures to your Google?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's in that setting somewhere.
And also when people submit reviews, they typically put my like wedding photos up within their review, and then that pops up too.
Touching on that really quickly, reviews are huge.
Oh yeah,
huge for your business. So I always ask clients after the event, please leave me a review on Google. I'm now on the Knot, so I'm adding, please leave, if it's a wedding, Google and the Knot. It's very important because that's also bumping you up on the search engine.
Yeah, I would still recommend Google, even if you are doing another service, because if you do decide to cancel with the Knot later on,
they won't be there.
Your review won't be there. So actually, I used to be on the Knot. I was on the Knot when I first started my business, and I'm starting a YouTube channel, and I talked about this a little bit on my YouTube channel, but it was very valuable for me starting out because, I mean, I was 18, 19. None of my friends were getting married. I live in New England, like near the city. And so just the way that life is around here, like typically people are like 30 or so, like when you get married. And so none of my friends are getting married. Like I guess I sort of have a big family, but like nobody knew that I know I was getting married. So it was like I didn't really have an opportunity to find my own clients. And so the Knot was kind of the way to go. And I did get a couple of clients from the Knot, and Zola is exactly the same, but free.
Yep.
Well,
it's free, but it's not free. So for Zola, if someone puts a request in for you, you have to pay now. They changed it, I think, recently.
Really? I know that they had like the credits or something, but the credits would like renew within like a week or something.
Oh, see, no, so I have to. Maybe my credits are gone, but I love Zola, and I actually just got on to the Knot because I was very skeptical about it, but now I'm targeting more of the wedding market. Yeah. So also photographers and mobile bars are totally different.
I think for you, it's going to be a totally different experience than for me.
To be determined.
I'll
let you know.
We'll revisit.
Yeah, we will definitely revisit this, but so networking with your business too, we can kind of dive into that. Again, just marketing your business in general is the best thing that you can do. So if you are new, if you are just starting out, networking is going to be if you haven't listened to our networking episode, definitely tune into that one because it's just so important for your business to be putting your name out there, letting people know about it. Whether you're doing it on Google, on social media, in person, whatever it is, if you're not talking about your business, who's talking about it?
And everything we're talking about right now are just ways for you to get clients, to make money, to give yourself a paycheck in the end. So this whole episode is about starting your business giving yourself a paycheck. So this whole marketing section, like networking with other people, they are going to refer you for weddings that they're not available for, or events or whatever. And that's a way for you to get new clients too. So you can market on your own. You can have social media on your own accounts and all of this good stuff. But networking is getting clients through other people in your industry. It's huge. And please go listen to that episode, because it was so much fun to record, and we had so much to share and so many cool tips of online and in-person networking at events and stuff like that. So
now we're coming full circle, because the event is going to be this week that we are networking with other vendors and guests that are attending. And if you don't have a networking thing that you like, create one.
Yep.
My I guess she's my co-host, and I, Devin with All Set Up, we created this experience, and thankfully Meghan jumped on board with us, but we created an event because we didn't really find one that we were passionate about and we wanted to do. So we created one, and it's now growing our businesses tenfold, because we've met so many vendors who are going to know about our business, who had no idea about our business prior to this. We're going to meet so many people at the event. And that's how you grow your business.
And even the guests too. Yep. Like my mom is going, and my mom is going to see other vendors too. I mean, she's biased to me in photography because I love photography and I talk about it all the time, but she's so excited to see your bar in action. Mm-hmm. And she's so excited to see all of the other vendors too, because you know, she's a mom and she has other mom friends who have kids and are getting married. And so she'll be able to refer all of those things that she's going to see on Thursday to all of her friends. And so it's a networking event for vendor to vendor. But like, I am so happy that you're letting like citizens,
the world,
like come.
Yes. And that was definitely a big thing about this event. We wanted it to be for the vendors, but we wanted people to see the vendors in action. Yeah. So a picture, Meghan is going to take the most amazing pictures, and I'm so excited. Secretly, I'm so excited for my own personal pictures, but we won't go there. But it's all about people really seeing the vendors in action. Like Meghan is going to be talking to people one-on-one. You know, you can post stuff on social media and that's amazing, but having that live interaction that we all missed for so long, it's back. Do it. Like get in front of someone, get out in the public, get in front of your target audience, because that's how you're going to book the next sale.
Yep. And on social media too. I mean, my strongest area for leads is Instagram, and so is yours.
Mine too. Yep.
TikTok is a close second, and then next is Facebook. So social media for me, you know, runs my whole business. I don't do the Knot anymore. I am on Zola. I mean, I'm on the Knot with like a free version now that I've canceled, and you know, all this other stuff that can help you out a little bit, but like majority of my leads come from social media, not even word of mouth, which I think word of mouth is huge. And I am starting to get a little bit of word of mouth now that I'm almost 2 years in business, but social media is still my largest stream of leads. And so definitely try that out. And even for product-based businesses, like that's how you're going to find your customers.
And I always talk about this when it comes to social media. You can only fit so many people in a room. When you're on social media, you have the potential to reach so many more people. Mm-hmm. So use it to your advantage. Go to the room, do everything that you can to promote your business. That's your job. Your job is to promote your business. I'll say it again. If you're not talking about your business, who is? Because you are the one that's passionate about it. Like Meghan is one of my number one supporters, and so is her mom, but they're not talking about my business all the time. That's my job to talk about my business. Mm-hmm. So you're going to meet your vendor friends, you're going to meet your community, but your number one job is to promote your business.
And the more excited you are about your own business, the more other people are going to be excited about it too. Because if you are offering this new big thing, like I'm offering now, what are they called? Polaroids.
Well, I was going to say it.
I'm now including 2 Polaroid cameras in my wedding packages for the bridal party and friends and family to just carry around throughout the day. And I'm really excited about that. I think that's such a fun addition. But like, if I didn't go out saying that all the time, if I didn't continually every now and then post that on my Instagram story, like nobody's going to know that and nobody's going to be excited about that. But they're excited because I'm excited.
Yep. And that could be the one thing that could have someone book you over somebody who does not offer that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you were not telling people that, how would they know?
Right.
Like my biggest thing is I use fresh ingredients in my cocktails. If I'm not telling people that, they're not going to know. Mm-hmm. So it's all about talking.
Yep.
And then lastly, we want to close with paychecks.
Yes. Yes. So you need to figure out what your cost of doing business is to be able to figure out what your paycheck can be, because you cannot take home every dollar that is given to your business. You need to be able to afford to run your business before you can pay yourself. So for you, that's a lot different. You have a cost for doing business at each event because you have your groceries, you have your trailer and the upkeep and all of that. So you have
And the ice.
And the ice,
Ice, baby.
Yeah, exactly. The ice, because that's something that you need to buy for each event. Mm-hmm. And depending on how long the event is, you're going to need more ice and you're going to need a stronger cooler. And all of these things, you need to figure out what is your cost of doing business per event or per product.
And I think that was something that I did not realize starting. And again, it's all things that you learn throughout growing in your business. I never realized how expensive coolers are, but I needed multiple coolers, and it took me to book a large event to have to do that, but I needed multiple coolers for one event. And yes, now I have the inventory of coolers, but I'm going to need new coolers every year because they get scratched and they get damaged and, you know, whatever it may be. But those are things that you don't think about when you first start. And that in turn goes to, what do you charge? And I think that this is a whole another episode that we could talk about, like how to find pricing and how to figure out pricing for your business. I think that would be actually be a really good episode.
Yeah, it would. Adding that to the list.
Done. Check. Also, check out our TikTok, because we just posted a TikTok, Megan did, about questions that we want to do a Q&A session just on questions and answers that you guys have for us. So be sure to check that out, add a comment. But I think it's very important to know how to price your business, knowing your expenses that you have to pay throughout the year. So I pay employees. I have to budget that into each event. I have to buy supplies. I have to buy fresh ingredients, which I can't use time over time. The only inventory that I have that I can use for multiple events is like a can of soda if I didn't open it prior to that. But other than that, I'm really using all fresh stuff. So I had to consider that when I charge what I charge for my pricing, because yeah, I might be more expensive than someone who doesn't use fresh ingredients, but then you're not my client, and that's okay. Right. So I think it's really figuring it out. And that takes time, that takes practice. But I think then that in turn goes, okay, then now what can you pay yourself?
Mm-hmm. And so beyond the resources to run your business with what you physically actually need, the other resource that you need to pay for is all of your subscriptions to be able to get your clients to begin with. So your subscription for the Knot, your subscription for your website, for your domain name, for your Gmail account, for it to be like an info at versus an at Gmail. Like you have to pay for that. Everything in the world costs money, and you have to consider your cost of doing business in like the administrative side, in addition to like.
I just want to touch on that too. Like I pay for Canva, I pay for Flowdesk that I use for my newsletter. I pay for. There's so many things that I personally feel are valuable to my business that add up. Yeah. Like Canva and Flowdesk, I think I pay $15 each, but that's $30 a month. Yep. Plus all the other fees that I pay monthly. And you don't realize that when you first start. So your pricing needs to reflect all of those costs too, because that's the price of doing business.
And some are going to be bigger than others. Like my Lightroom and my Premiere subscription, like, God. Don't even want to think about it.
Oh
like,
my goodness.
It's just... But like
that's
we
the
said,
price of doing business.
Yeah. And like we said last week in our previous episode is paying for your subscriptions yearly. Like if you're serious about this and you know it's going to last, I would recommend doing all of these yearly. I pay for everything yearly besides my Google Business Suite, I guess. Maybe I'll look into that too, because maybe I can be paying yearly. Maybe you do, maybe and you don't realize.
Yeah.
But besides that, my Lightroom, Premiere, PicTime, Wix, like everything that I have is yearly if I can, because it will save me in the long run.
Also on that, I got very lucky when I started my business. I started in May, and I didn't start doing all of these things until like I think like September-ish. I think some are different because I did do other subscriptions. So now my yearly subscription for most things come during my busiest season. So I have an income, I have money coming in. If I had all these coming out in January, I would be like, oh crap.
That's fantastic, because that's when mine comes. Because I registered my business at like the start of the new year. It was like February. 2022. So like most things are around that time. I mean, I was starting to accept clients prior to that. So I think like my Wix website, Lightroom I've always had. So some like HoneyBook I had early on. So some things like that, but then others, no. Like my Google Business Suite is monthly for some reason. So anyway.
I just realized I pay monthly for HoneyBook, and that's the silliest thing.
Pay yearly.
I know. I need to change that.
25% off your first year of HoneyBook in the description down below.
Use code.
Yeah.
Check out our code. But we love HoneyBook.
Oh my God, swear by HoneyBook.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it. This is not even paid by them. They just give out like
one
whenever
day.
one day.
Put it in the universe. HoneyBook is going to promote us.
But no, I love HoneyBook, and they do give you a referral code when you reach out. So if you have a friend that's interested too, you'd be able to, help them out once you have HoneyBook and you like it. So anyway, 25% off your first year of HoneyBook in the description down below.
Love it, love it, love it. So I think that concludes our episode on forming an LLC. I think we dove into a lot of awesome topics. I hope this was helpful to our audience because we didn't know where we were starting when we started, and that's okay. It is okay not to know what you don't know.
Yeah.
I think in conclusion, find the expert in areas, and we talk about this all the time. If you're not good at something, find someone who is. It's going to help your business, whether you have to pay for it, whether you have to ask a friend, but it's okay not to be perfect at everything. Nobody is.
Nope.
And then just to recap the steps.
So the first step is to file your certificate of organization. So this will mean that you are an LLC to your state. You get your certificate of organization. And then after that, you file for your Reg 1, which is your EIN number, your employer identification number to be able to make your business bank account and pay your taxes. So the next step is to make your bank account and get insurance with that also, because you need to have your EIN number for that, I believe also, or your LLC.
I think you need your LLC.
Yeah. And then lastly is to just pay your taxes and check in with your town. That's it. And then each year you have to obviously pay your taxes and do your property taxes and re-up your LLC yearly. You will get something emailed to you or in the mail saying that you are due for $80. So that's it. It's really just a simple 5-step or so process. It sounds very scary, sounds very confusing, but hopefully this was helpful, and maybe it brought up a couple of questions for you that you can Google now and you wouldn't have thought of otherwise. I hope this didn't scare you more than you already were, but
if it does, just go make a cocktail, you'll be fine. But no, truthfully, you have to do things the right way in order to run a business. So if you don't know the right way, ask someone. Ask us. We're happy to help with any questions. Slide into our DMs.
But Q&A episode coming soon. We want all of your questions. Some of them might even turn into full-length episodes. So if there's something that you think we would have a valuable perspective on, please let us know and we will get to it.
And leave us a review, please.
Yes.
Reviews are so important for podcasts. We're learning. But leave us a review. Tell us what you liked, what you maybe don't tell us what you don't like, but tell us what you liked and what you want to hear more of, because we have some really awesome episodes coming down the pike, and we are getting into the start of my season. Actually starts this week, which I'm so excited about.
Mine too, actually.
April. Is it?
Yeah, I second shot last weekend and I'm second shooting again this weekend.
Yes.
So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm ready. We started the episode with spring is here in Connecticut and the birds are chirping. That sounds so silly, but it's just so exciting because it really shows like the start of our season, the start of our businesses, and we're ready to get going again.
Yep. So excited. And we're so excited to be documenting it along the way too. This is kind of like a personal diary for us too.
It is.
So I love that. And I can't wait to capture our growth in our businesses as it happens. So
follow us on Instagram. That's our main platform, our personal Instagrams. Follow that. Follow our podcast episodes. And thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Cheers.